Good morning, I'm Lacey Shippey on the Rural Radio Network, and it's time to take a look at our midday livestock trade with livestock market analyst Kyle Bumsted. And Kyle, we have seen both sides of trading today, up and down, and we're up right now. Tell me a little bit about what's affecting our markets here today.
That's right, Lacey. We left an intraday gap here to start things out this morning when we opened here in both feeders and the live cattle here. These January feeders opened at $332.85, which would be $1 higher than where they closed yesterday. We've since gone down and filled that gap, made a low $331.30 here. About 25 minutes ago here, we were red, and now we're back to the positive. Here we're up $2.52 here on this $334.37 area. The high's been $337 and the low's been $331.30. So I don't even know if we're trading here if we're not trading at least a $5 range here in these feeder cattle. You know, we're getting pretty accustomed to $6 and $7 ranges here, but a $5 range I guess is going to have to suffice for now until we do something later on here in the session. Live cattle side of things here, we've seen some bids out there. 330 on an address basis here. Let me check that. We've seen 340 on address basis bid. And then there's also some regionals here bidding 220 in western Nebraska. We've also seen that there's 337 non-address basis bid in Iowa. And then there's also an eastern Nebraska call-in here at 335 on address basis as well. Western Nebraska early on here about 9:30 was 216 on a live basis and 330 on a address basis. That was to go to regional back in eastern Nebraska, but so far that's kind of been passed over, and haven't really heard anything as much as far as volume of trade. Now, on the feeder cattle side of things, you do want to keep an eye on here. The index is going to be up about $4.02 around that 341.80 with a daily number of 347.37 on 3,973 heads.
Thank you, Kyle. That is livestock market analyst Kyle Bumsted with a look at your midday markets here on the Rural Radio Network.
Attention tech-savvy farmers and ranchers, or maybe those just curious about technology. Plan to attend Front 40 Tech, a producer-focused event for farmers and ranchers taking place at this year's Nebraska Ag Expo on Tuesday, December 9th. See Ag Tech in action. Stay competitive by learning what's next in ag technology and make connections with peers, innovators, and local ag professionals. Learn more and register for Front 40 Tech at NebraskaCombine.com. Brought to you by the Combine, Nebraska's Ag Tech Incubator.
If you're up at the crack of dawn, so is the Rural Radio Network with ag news and market information.
I'm Bryce Duskett with this check of agriculture news.
Or if you're more alert in the afternoon, the Rural Radio Network has all of the important news to let you know what is happening in agriculture and in the markets.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex McAfee joining you with this check of agriculture news.
When you want the best in agriculture, follow, like, and listen to the Rural Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Rural Radio Network with a check of your markets. I'm Lacey Shippey. Grain futures have found some support today with corn and soybeans rebounding from the recent lows. Good news came this morning in the form of some delayed export data that showed very strong corn exports still running ahead of the already aggressive estimate from the USDA. According to the data on the week ending October 30th, corn sales rose slightly week over week to 78.5 million bushels, with soybeans down slightly at 45.9 million bushels. South American weather is also starting to look a little dry in key areas, helping to boost futures this morning. And wheat futures are mixed. U.S. wheat inspections to date have been running about double the USDA expectations, but global supplies will be very large, with Canada, Argentina, and Australia increasing their production estimates. March corn is up 3 at 446.5. May up 2 3/4 at 453.5. January soybeans are up 7 1/4 at 11.23. March up 6 1/2 at 11.32. March Chicago wheat is up 2 1/4 at 540.5. May up 2 1/4 at 547.5. March Kansas City wheat up 4 3/4 at 534 1/4. May up 4 1/2 at 545 1/4. January soybean meal is up 150 at 312.80. January bean oil up a dime at 51.77. December live cattle are up 165 at 220.60. February up 132 at 223.22. January feeders are up 257 at 334.42. March up 170 at 327.50. And February lean hogs are up 90 cents at 81.90. April up 90 cents at 85.70. Class 3 milk for January up 13 cents at 15.39. You're listening to the Rural Radio